Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Wherever you are in the world, welcome and thank you for joining us. My name is Carl Anthony, and this is AutoVision News live from AutoSens Detroit 2023. We are set up in the heart of the Motor City at the Huntington Place in downtown Detroit. With us this time is Radhika Arora, a proven leader in business development and strategy with an impressive track record of increasing profits and expanding market share. Now, she has had success when it comes to establishing a lasting presence in varied market segments, identifying growth opportunities in new emerging applications, and initiating strong business alliances. She is equally skilled at directing cross-functional teams to manage the complete product lifecycle. Today, Radhika serves as the Senior Director of Product Marketing at OnSemi. Radhika, welcome. Glad you could be with us.
Good morning, Carl. Great seeing you.
So, Radhika, tell us about your role at OnSemi. Take us through the day-to-day of your schedule.
All right. So I run the product management team at OnSemi, specifically within the automotive image sensor group.
Sure.
So as part of that, I drive the product roadmap, the current roadmap, as well as our next generation roadmap, which entails working with a lot of our close partners and customers, understanding vehicle architecture trends,
Right.
and translating that back to what our sensor definition should look like to overcome some of those challenging use cases
Right.
in the automotive space.
Right. You talked about challenging use cases yesterday during the AutoSens press conference, and you also talked about the new, and I think this is a cool name, Hyperlux, the new OnSemi Hyperlux family. You talked about that yesterday in the press conference. Give us an overview. Tell us about the Hyperlux family.
Since you like the name, I'm going to start by explaining what Hyperlux really means and why we picked that name.
Yeah.
So hyper essentially reveals anything that's going above and beyond.
Sure.
It's high speed,
Sure.
and lux is Latin for light.
Okay.
Now, when we look at those challenging use cases in the automotive industry, you want to be able to achieve success across varying light conditions,
Right.
extreme conditions.
Right.
So hence the name Hyperlux. This is our flagship product family
Sure.
in the automotive image sensor space.
Sure.
And it covers both viewing and sensing applications.
Okay.
And it's really built on the tenets of security and safety.
Okay.
And we are able to achieve 150 dB in dynamic range. That means when there are those extreme conditions, driving on an overpass and you get blinded by the light,
Yes.
you're driving in sun and getting into a tunnel, and you want the sensors to be able to see not just what the human eye can see,
Right.
but better. That's the
Yes.
reason we have sensors.
Right.
So that's where the 150 dB dynamic range is important.
Right.
Another differentiating factor on this product family is stability of performance across temperature.
Okay.
And that is supremely important because you want the sensors to be performing in a stable and predictable way,
Yes.
irrespective of where the temperature is at.
Okay.
Just performing well at room temperature is not good enough. Like, how often are you actually just continuously driving at 25 degrees centigrade? You're not.
Right.
So the stability of performance, whether you're 25 degrees or 80 degrees or 110 degrees, is supremely important, which is what this product family offers.
Right.
Another point to highlight is specifically when we look at a lower resolution that's part of this product family, the 3 megapixel, that's based on the 2.1 micron pixel size, and you're not going to find solutions in the automotive grade segment that have a smaller pixel size for viewing applications. And we made that choice because our pixel performance, frankly, matches that of higher pixel sizes like
Right.
3 micron, if not better.
Right.
But what we are also able to achieve is a smaller form factor in turn with a smaller pixel size.
Right.
Smaller form factor of the pixel, the camera module, the lens, which overall leads to a smaller BOM.
Right. Right.
It also meets a low power requirement. So it has about 30% lower power compared to any other 3 megapixel automotive grade imager in the market.
Right.
And now when you look at one of the mega trends of electrification and electromobility,
Yes.
power plays a big role. Every component matters, and that's where the Hyperlux product family really stands out.
Yeah. Radhika, let's talk about the ultra high dynamic range. And during the press conference yesterday, you had said just that. On your way to work, almost every day, you drive under the overpass and you get hit with sunlight immediately. And as I was sitting there, I thought, that happens to me every day too. Why is it important for OnSemi to focus on ultra high dynamic range? Well, why is that important? What's the focus there?
So I think we're all part of the discussion today about going to higher levels of autonomy, right? How do we get from level 1, level 2, and higher?
Sure.
Safety features play a critical role. And as safety features get more pervasive, meeting the requirements, that is, being able to find solutions for those corner cases is critical. And the case that you just mentioned, and some others that I'd like to highlight right now,
Please, yes.
can be met with this higher dynamic range. Like, let's just look at street lights and traffic lights.
Sure,
a lot of them have dynamic range that ranges from 110 dB to 120 dB. Now, if your sensor is able to meet that dynamic range flicker-free,
Sure.
that's an advantage. That means you're accurately reading street signs, you're accurately reading traffic signs,
Sure.
and that's overcoming a safety problem.
Right.
You're getting into a tunnel, you're blinded. Do you really want your sensor to be blinded and the car not able to do anything?
Yes.
No.
Right.
So again,
Yes,
that's where dynamic range plays a role. Now let me mention one other thing on the Hyperlux family.
Please.
The higher dynamic range enables us to have a mode that's called set it and forget it.
Okay. Yes.
So what that allows you to do is you don't have to change the exposure gain settings on the camera. So you're not talking to the processor. You're not going back and forth.
Right.
And that translates to no dropped frames, no latency, and no blind time.
Okay.
So in effect, you're taking real-time decisions without any latency. And that, again, is important as we enable these safety features.
Right. Right. Radhika, if I'm understanding you right, if we can address that latency and not drop the frames, that helps us create safer systems, safer vehicles for you and I when we're driving under the tunnel and the, so this is about addressing safety. And I just I'm understanding that right, aren't I?
Absolutely.
Okay. The smaller pixels and the power consumption, right? Getting at the heart of benchmark engineering. Why is that important? Going from the high dynamic range, why are the smaller pixels and the lower power consumption, why is that important for this automotive industry?
Look, we've got to address the megatrends in the industry.
Yeah.
And like I was saying, electromobility, electrification is one of the big megatrends. That's where low power is important. Another fact to consider is that we have a lot more sensors going in the cars. Gone are the days where you had a single sensor on a vehicle. We're talking about sensors up to 14 of them on a vehicle. And they all add to power consumption. The look and feel of these cars is also important. Now think about it. If you've got 14 sensors around the car, your cars are going to look a little different.
Yes.
And if you've got larger sensors, larger camera modules that are jutting out at you, that doesn't make for a very pleasant look.
Right.
So that's important as well. And I mentioned some of the other things about lower BOM costs, again, as you're adding more and more sensors, not just imagers, by the way, there are other sensor modalities as well. The overall cost is going to be important for these to be widely adopted in the market space.
Right. I know we've kind of covered this in so many words, but when you're working with this new Hyperlux family and you're working with this, what is your favorite part about the Hyperlux solution, if you had to pick a favorite?
Well, it's really a combination, but if there's one thing that really stands out, and I can't talk enough about the dynamic range of this sensor. It is simply the widest dynamic range in the market today that really helps you meet all the use cases that our customers are talking about in terms of the challenging aspects of their design.
That was cool in the press conference when you mentioned that. Radhika, when it comes to advocating for women in automotive, what can we do as an industry to advocate for our women colleagues and to ensure that they have an actual seat at the table and not just a chair in the back of the room? What are your thoughts there?
Well, that's a topic close to my heart. it's not just one thing, right? It's a combination of factors, and it really starts early. It starts in those schools. It starts by getting more exposure and opportunities for STEM programs for girls early on. Getting the right mentoring is so important. And I would say I was lucky enough to have that mentor in the industry. It's important. It was important for me as I was going through the ranks in corporate America to see other women doing similar things. The benchmark. So having the right mentors starting early on with the right education systems, that really sets the foundation for more women to be coming up in this space. And I'm proud to say that OnSemi has a representation of 44% women in the company, in a semiconductor company.
Awesome. Awesome. Radhika, thank you for your time and sharing your thoughts and your expertise, for giving me an overview of the Hyperlux family, and for, again, sharing your insights yesterday during our AutoSens press conference. Have a great rest of the show, safe travels home, and hope to do this again sometime real soon.
Always a pleasure, Carl. Thank you.
More to come from AutoSens Detroit 2023 to the AutoVision News LinkedIn page. Reporting from the Huntington Place in downtown Detroit, I'm Carl Anthony, AutoVision News.